Hello, Divine Brothers, Divine Sisters, and welcome to Siddha Life Mastery Online School with Darshan Baba. There's a picture of me in the corner, Darshan Baba, talking to you now. And I'm very excited, I'm very happy that you're here watching this today, because this Siddha Life Mastery Online School is a manifestation of a vision I've had since at least the last time I came back from retreat in India, which would have been about 5 years ago now. I've been practicing subtle energy sciences practices since at least elementary school, when I was actually fascinated with astral travel and out-of-body experiences, and began practicing breathing techniques, meditation techniques, and affirmations to try and achieve astral travel. Over the years, that evolved through many types of study and practices, shamanic practices, work with mantras and yogic meditation sciences and breathing techniques and mystical practices and Tai Chi, Qigong, and then studying in schools, energy medicine, holistic healing and healing arts, etc. And so after many years of this, many years of seeking and application and practice and study, this last time while on retreat in India, I attained an experience where I would live in what I called the shining world for weeks at a time. I would see the subtle energy realm almost more brightly than I would see the physical world. I would still see the physical world, but the subtle realm was predominant. Like, it was what I saw first. And I felt like I had all the tools with me that I no longer needed to seek outside of myself, that I could directly connect to the subtle energy realm and receive everything I needed, and that I had all the tools I needed to practice mastery in my life. So at that time then, when I came back to the United States, I wanted to create courses or workshops in order to share these techniques and these tools and what I had discovered through the culmination of my practice. Not that I had attained supreme enlightenment, but just that I had all the tools I needed to be able to practice and attain mastery in my life without having to go and seek outside elsewhere for that. So this module is becoming aware of energy. So we're going to talk about what is energy really, and why is awareness of energy and knowledge of its use important in my life? Why is awareness of energy and knowledge of its use important in our lives? So for me, everything is energy. But let's start with a simple dictionary definition of energy. The ability to be active, the physical or mental strength that allows you to do things. Natural enthusiasm and effort, which this is all very important. Usable power that comes from heat, electricity, etc. So the full definition of energy: dynamic quality, the capacity of acting or being active, a usually positive spiritual force, for example, the energy flowing through all people. Vigorous exertion of power, effort, investing time and energy. A fundamental entity of nature that is transferred between parts of a system in the production of physical change within the system, and usually regarded as the capacity for doing work. So this is important because this is a change in what is the classic definition of energy that you may be familiar with from high school physics class, which was that energy is regarded as the capacity for doing work, the capacity for action and motion and changes to occur within nature. But it's been changed to this, which is pointing to energy as something more subtle, a fundamental entity of nature that is transferred between parts of a system, a force that is transferred between parts of a system in the production of physical change, a force that is moving between the parts of nature that is causing change and action and motion and things to happen. And usable power as heat or electricity, also the resources for producing such power. So this is all important to us too, usable power and energy. Energy is information. And here we have Einstein with his theory of relativity. So E equals mc squared. E equals mass times the constant squared. Mass times the constant squared. So constant is holding the place for the speed of light, which is a very big number. So energy equals, for every bit of matter, there are over 1 billion bits of energy to inform this one bit of matter manifestation. And matter is energy because energy equals mass times the constant squared. So there is a direct correlation between energy and matter. For every little bit of matter, for every mass, there's this much energy related or inside. How is energy information? Think about it. Notice how different frequencies of light appear as red in the various colors. Remember that notes and everything heard from your radio or cell phones is transmitted through the air by waves. Consider that all sound itself, which is the medium of spoken language, is vibration or movements of energy. So everything that you know with language, with words, is transferred through energy. Is there any motion in the universe which is not a movement of energy? So energy informs the appearance of everything we perceive. Based on models of physics, where and how the particles of matter are arranged and in motion determines the constituents of matter. In other words, the movements of energy are what make up matter. What appears as matter is said by physicists to be mostly empty space with vibrating particles. The more they examine it, the more they break it down, each level smaller and smaller. What is posited by scientists is again more empty space occupied by moving particles, energies, possibilities. So this simple understanding of matter as another form of energy or as an appearance of energy is huge. This changes everything. Our entire perspective of life can change by realizing that matter itself is a form of energy. Then everything can become more fluid. Then miracles can be possible, scientifically even. There I am again, and I am saying to you, energetic sciences and consciousness technologies are not just new agey fluff. So this is important. You should know energetic sciences. You should know how to relate with your subtle energy and how to work with your subtle energy and consciousness technologies, how to work with your mind and who you are. Like, what is consciousness? These are important things in life. Subtle energy is just energy in a form which is more subtle from a perspective of focusing on gross, slower moving energies that appear dense, stationary, or physical. So subtle energy is just another form of matter, essentially, or matter is another form of subtle energy. It's all related. And you are already familiar with some expressions of subtle energy. Your thoughts, feelings, and sensations are perceptions and movements of subtle energy. Thoughts, feelings, sensations are ways that we perceive subtle energy. And subconsciously, we are all always receiving and processing information through subtle energy. Our subconscious mind is aware of millions of bits of information coming in at any instant from the environment around us. But we're only consciously aware of maybe 10,000 bits of information that we're processing, sensations in the body, thoughts, feelings, things like this. But subconsciously, we're picking up all this information through the field of energy. For example, notice how some places and people make you feel differently. Notice how some people or places may be calming to you or inspiring. Perhaps being around some people or some places makes you feel tired. Another example is if you're hiking through the woods, some places seem to give you energy and you keep moving, and then other places maybe make you feel like resting. So there's different sensations that are occurring in the forest that you're picking up on, and they're changing actually how you're behaving Even if you're not consciously aware of them, your subconscious mind is processing this information. Another example, notice how people can seem to transfer to one another energy of anger or sadness or positive feelings of calmness and confidence. So in group meditations, it's easier to drop into a space of peace and meditative calmness because of the group energy is transferring to each other. And likewise, if you walk into a room where everybody's agitated and angry, they're in a protest, then you can easily become angry and agitated too, and your mind may identify it with the story that everyone is passing around as to why they're angry, but in reality it may have a lot more to do with the feelings that are being shared in the room, the energy. So this is really about taking back the power. If you realize that subtle energy is important in your life, then it can be applied. It's something that is important to you, and it's not just spiritual fluff. A duality between physical and spiritual energy realities implies parallel or separate dimensions which are independent, or takes for granted that one aspect of physical is immediate and important, but that the other is not. Whereas recognizing physical and spiritual reality as being gross and subtle aspects of one singularity, they can be seen as the same medium of energy. So then everything in life can be brought together as one whole. So it's about holistic health. The physical, the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, they're actually all different aspects of one being, one energy. Taking back the power. Now it is becoming clear that knowledge and use of the subtle can affect change in the gross physical aspect of our daily lives. This is accomplished through this one medium of an all-pervasive field of energy. In fact, the gross aspects and manifestations of daily life are completely dependent upon the framework and informing from the subtle. This means, if you want to change the outer aspects of your life, the change starts within you. This concept of non-duality between a material and non-material realm is not a new one. For example, philosophers such as Spinoza have revealed such realizations centuries ago. I don't know if I said his name right. I remember this from a report I did in middle school maybe, and I picked this philosopher, and it happened to just fit right into my life path, because he was dealing with the problem of that if there's a duality between a physical and non-physical world, then they really have nothing to do with each other. They're completely independent and they don't relate. They're like parallel realms. So some philosophers went one way and they said, well, there's only a physical realm. And other ones, like Spinoza, probably didn't say his name right, he went the way of saying that it's non-duality, it's all energy, it's all a non-physical realm, and even what appears as physical is just another way that energy appears in the world. Mystical and esoteric sciences have also posited the truth of non-duality between material and non-material for thousands of years, and they've kept it alive in unbroken lineages. These traditions of inner cultivation have also actively kept alive the techniques of subtle awareness and application of energetic techniques in unbroken lineages for ages. So even until today, we can have these techniques for cultivating our subtle energy, internal cultivation with subtle energy, so we can master our lives. So why is this awareness of energy and knowing techniques for working with energy important for you? So why is this awareness of energy and knowing techniques for working with energy important for you? Please comment below with your answer if you'd like to. I'd love to get comments and see your comments. It'll just be wonderful. So this is why, in my view, why the awareness of energy and knowing techniques for working with energy is important for us. The energy field is the medium of all perception and experience. The energy field is the medium. It's the playground. It's how we perceive. It's what we're perceiving. It's the magic that makes up perception and experience. This all-pervasive subtle energy is the omnipotent power of omnipresent consciousness to experience being. Energy is power, its ability, it's the infinite possibilities of how consciousness can experience being. It's how it manifests these worlds, everything we see, everything we perceive, everything we can believe about it. These are all movements of energy. That's the power, the ability of consciousness to experience. Utilizing the subtle energy aspects of life is like having another set of arms or a more functional brain. It's more of us. It's knowing more of what we have. If we tied an arm behind us, we'd be missing something. Our subtle energy is an important aspect of our lives. If having awareness and practical use of our subtle energy is like having another limb or greater intelligence, then what's it like to be missing this? Without the richness of life provided by the subtle aspects and dimensions of self, people may feel empty or without a purpose, without meaning in life, frustrated or depressed, always hungry, not necessarily just for food, but more sensory stimulus, more excitement, the next pretty thing, the next adventure, something else, something more, always just something more they're looking for. And rarely satisfied by this constant feeding of the senses, and thus bored. The solution, of course, is surprisingly simple. What is missing or craved is not found through the senses. We need only to rediscover the subtle dimensions of being. That's why there's that emptiness feeling or the frustration or depression. It's because we can't find it through the senses. We can't keep seeking in the outside world. We need only to rediscover what we already have within us, the subtle dimensions of our being. And then following the pathway of this subtle energy, this light, back to a fullness of self and totality of being. So we can start to notice subtler and subtler dimensions of our being. We can open into more subtle spaces of our being and follow it back all the way to the source of being, to the source of consciousness. See, who are we? Who is experiencing this? Where do thoughts come from? Where does perception and energy come from? Imagine the infinite possibilities and limitless resources offered by living in a world of energy as a being of energy. And there's a picture of my son, probably a little younger than 2.5 in that picture. He's about 3 now, playing next to a very sacred river here in Kauai, Wailua River. It's a beautiful picture with him, and it's a perfect image for this, because children like this really kind of demonstrate that. They're just playing and they're free, and like when he was younger, he was ready to take off and try to fly. He believed he could fly. So I really learned a lot from watching my child, It's taught me amazing things about energy and interacting with energy and mastery of life. Imagine the infinite possibilities and limitless resources offered by living in a world of energy as a being of energy. Just imagine. Having access to greater levels of energy means more ability to succeed naturally. If you have more energy, you can succeed more. You can get more done. More intelligence. Greater levels of clarity and direct and spontaneous intuitive knowledge beyond just thinking or rational intelligence, but being able to just tap into the knowledge of the universe, get direct, spontaneous, intuitive knowledge through the field of energy, through the medium of energy, connecting everything. And with more energy, one can gain new skills, learn anything, overcome challenges, etc. Naturally, if you have more energy, you've got the inspiration, the motivation, you can go to school, you can take these courses, you can do what's necessary to gain new skills, to learn something new, to face challenges and overcome them. If you're feeling drained, if you don't have enough energy, naturally it's going to be hard to try and learn something new, to remain inspired or focused, or even go try, or to face your challenges. It may just feel like every challenge rolls over you. So of course, energy is important in our lives. With more energy, with more relationship to our energy and where it comes from and what is energy, our entire life can definitely be taken to a whole new level. So in the next module, we're going to begin building a practical relationship with energy. We're going to gain some tools for how we can become aware of energy, how it can become practical in our lives, and how we can use it to make our lives better, to attain mastery in our lives. The breath, grounding, increasing awareness, and there's going to be techniques and exercises. Thank you so much for watching this. It's wonderful. I would love to have any comments from you, any sort of feedback. It's just great.